It's only just the beginning. But yeah, no more red free ride. Weird. Hi everyone and welcome to a possibly slightly overdue update video. Today I'm going to take you through what we've been up to for the last couple of months, which is, to be honest, not a great deal. In the last update video we talked about some of the external projects we're working on, and they are still ongoing, but they're not really at a point yet where we can sort of talk about them in detail or sort of share any details, but hopefully that'll be coming in the future. So the main news that we do have for this video is that we have done a deal now on the timber, and the felling work at the park has actually begun. If you've been following along with the story, you know that we were having some issues with timber pricing being pretty low, and it's taken us longer than we kind of hoped to get to this point, but we kind of a mixture of prices getting a little bit better, but more so just kind of we needed to start making some progress and sort of get the forest sorted out so we could actually meet the replanting window this year, which wouldn't then delay potential reopening of the park in the future. So we signed the deal about 2 weeks ago now, and the machines came in about a week ago, and to be honest, like about 10 minutes ago I went for my first sort of look up at the forest because I've been away for a little while, and they've done about 5 days work, and I've got to be honest with you, it is pretty devastating. When we signed the contract, one of the sort of last jobs I needed to do was essentially go up on the hill and take down all the signs, because obviously a lot of them are attached to trees and they're all in the way, so they're going to get destroyed when the forest gets cut down. So I spent a couple of days with a screw gun going around and taking down all the signs, which actually gave me a chance to walk all of the sort of tracks for one last time. I've got to be honest, it was quite a surreal experience doing that. Obviously we've been dealing with this now for a good sort of 8-9 months, and you know, it's in a way I thought it was quite real to us that this was going to happen. But when I was actually sort of up there and stood staring down the tracks and sort of imagining the place without the trees, it suddenly became very, very real. And that experience was kind of dwarfed by the sort of walk around the forest today when the work has actually begun. We're going to be sort of splicing in some footage and videos of the current state of the forest, but in 5 days they've basically, the middle section of free ride is pretty much gone. They've been up through there with the machine, they've kind of dug in a new road and taken out all the trees along there, and that's quite weird to see. I guess one positive note is that with the trees gone, you've now got a beautiful view there of the rest of the forest, which is a view that I've never seen before despite being here for 12 years. Sadly, that view is going to obviously change a lot over the next few weeks as the rest of the forest goes, but yeah, it's a beautiful sunny day, and looking out over the forest, you're reminded of how beautiful a place this is. The other thing they've done is they have worked their way down from the bottom fire road, and essentially they've been using kind of Lower Ghetto as the road to the bottom. So yeah, Lower Ghetto's had a pretty severe remodelling, shall we say, and is essentially gone as well. It's quite shocking as well, with even just that small area that's been felled, how much timber's coming out of it. There's going to be so much wood coming out of this hill, it's kind of a bit daunting to imagine what it's all going to look like stacked at the bottom in the car park. It's probably going to take a good 6 to 8 weeks or so to fully complete the work. They do move pretty quickly, but it's a hell of a big area to clear. One of the things I did do while I was walking around with my doing the signs was I took some videos and photos from sort of specific points, which hopefully I'll be able to find my way back to them after the felling. So there'll be a video coming up in a few weeks which will kind of have a lot of sort of before and after, and I would prepare yourself for being a little bit shocked by what that's going to look like. So that's kind of the main sort of update, and like I say, there should be some fairly decent shots and drone footage of the hills at the moment, where it's sort of at the start of the work. A lot of people asked, and we questioned ourselves as to whether like closing the park was really necessary and whether there was any potential that we could sort of keep operating. And seeing the state of the place after just a few days of this work going on, has made it pretty clear that there was absolutely no way that we could be operating this park right now. Even taking aside the destruction of the actual bike tracks, just the sort of scale of the machinery and things like that needs to be constantly moving about, means that it would have been completely unfeasible to carry on. So what does this all mean for the future of the park? Well, to be honest, I don't really have any solid answers for you on that front. The positive side of it, and although it's pretty devastating to see on some of the footage, this will give us a pretty blank canvas for the future of the park. So that's I guess a silver lining that we're trying to cling on to. Even the sort of damage that's been done up the middle section of the free ride, it's left us with a line of clear of trees and stumps and things like that in theory will be a lot easier to build than the original one, and will give us a lot more space and options for building. So there are some silver linings from that perspective. I think the sort of elephant in the room, and it's something that we've been sort of trying to avoid thinking about to a certain extent, is we've been talking about this sort of couple of year window. Now the reality of it is trees don't grow much in a couple of years. So it's hard to imagine that we're going to have any sort of sense of tree cover or things like that in that kind of time frame. So we could realistically be looking at a longer time frame. But we have made some decisions over the last couple of months in terms of how we're doing the felling work and some of the replanting design. That will, for example, we're leaving some trees behind to create a weather barrier. It might not survive when you leave sort of fairly isolated trees. They can end up getting blown down anyway. But there's two benefits to that. Number one is it provides a bit of a nursery type shelter for the new trees so they can establish and grow a bit quicker. And obviously it potentially creates, an existing wind barrier and things like that, which could make life a bit easier. The other thing is, which we hadn't taken into account, is there is above the top of our hill, there is another forest that was felled a couple of years ago and was replanted. And in the process of sort of planning out the felling work, we went and had a look at that forest, and that's actually starting to establish pretty quickly. It's probably about 2 years old right now, so the trees are at the moment about 3-4 foot high. But that's kind of the slow period. What we would expect to see in the next couple of years is they'll probably double in height. So we might actually get the benefit of a sort of a wind barrier from our neighbours. So potentially, there are some positives that we could draw on that, but we kind of got to expect ourselves or prepare ourselves for the fact that we could be in for a bit of a long haul on this. That's kind of it for the updates on the forestry work. We'll try and keep you up to date as things progress. Like I say, I'll certainly do another video once the forest is cleared, so you can sort of all see how it's ended up and what it's looking like, and we'll keep you in the loop in terms of replanting and that side of it. But in the meantime, I am also going to plug something else that I've been doing. So some of you who know me may know that I'm quite into my sailing, and in order to give myself something to focus on beyond the depression of everything that's going on here, I bought a new boat last year, and I've been spending some of my time renovating it, and I'm actually documenting that in a YouTube channel. The channel's called Joe and Tim, Joe being my partner and the filmmaker for us. Link will be in the description. Like I say, it's all about the west coast of Scotland and how beautiful that area is. And so if you have any interest in that and sailing and you want to check that out, yeah, that's kind of one of the other things I've been doing. James is still out in Austria, as we said in the last video. He's been cracking on building some trails out there, and I think that's been a really great and interesting experience for him. It's given him a whole new sort of perspective on trail building, and that kind of experience can only benefit, obviously, once we start rebuilding here. But he's out there for a few more weeks, so he's sort of avoiding having to see all this happening. But I'm sure when he sees this, sees the footage and sees the photos, he's going to be as devastated as I am. But, you know, like I say, I think we're just going to try and cling on to the idea that this is going to give us a blank canvas for the future. So I think that will do for today's video. I say thanks for stopping by. You know, please subscribe. These videos are going to come out fairly infrequently, but obviously if you want to keep in the loop and know what's going on, the best way is to sort of subscribe and notify and like and all that, and that way, you know, YouTube, hopefully if it's working, will let you know. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.